Coming up next on Access Framingham, a hurricane disaster relief mission to Puerto Rico with my guest, Teri Banerjee. Stay tuned. Hello, I'm Jack Barron, host of Travels with Jack on Access Framingham TV, where guests share with our audience a recent trip, a vacation, a cruise, or maybe a day trip right here in New England. You'll see their photos and hear about the exciting places they have visited. Today, we're going to talk about the devastation that Hurricane Maria wreaked upon Puerto Rico in September 2017. Little less than a year ago. And one of the recovery efforts among the hard-hit cities in Puerto Rico was Moca, a city near the northwest edge of the island. The Framingham Rotary Club, together with a club from New York State and one from Moca, undertook 2 missions to Moca to help the residents rebuild their homes and their lives. On this month's show, Framingham resident and Rotarian Teri Banerjee shares her experience as a member of the first of these humanitarian missions in February 2018. And we'll invite Teri back to tell us about the second mission on another Travels with Jack program. What parts of the world have you visited? Please be my guest on Travels with Jack and share your travel experience with our viewing audience. Just contact us here at Access Framingham Television and let us know you'd like to be a guest. You can phone AFTV at 508-875-5434, or you can send an email message to info@accessfram.tv. One of our associate producers will contact you to make arrangements for you to be on our show here on Access Framingham TV. If you don't live in Massachusetts, we would be pleased to assist with your travel to the Access Framingham studios. And now, let me welcome Teri to Travels with Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Welcome, Teri. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
At least it's nice and dry and air-conditioned in here.
That's right.
Okay, folks, a little bit of history. Teri Banerjee lives in Framingham and has lived here since 1973, some 45 years. She and her past husband raised 2 daughters here in Framingham, and Teri has 4 beautiful grandchildren who live down south and out west. Having my own 1 grandchild out in California, I know how tough it is. Teri was a teacher for high school students and then taught 15 years at Framingham State University, computer science and technology. Teri also runs Active Computer Company, which is a computer training and consulting business located here in Framingham. And some of you may recognize Teri as an anchor on the AFTV show, The Framingham Beat. And Teri was also a Framingham Town Meeting member for more than 30 years, including 5 years as a town moderator and 1 year as a charter commission member. And as an active Rotarian, when they had the terrible catastrophe in Puerto Rico, Teri reached out to her regional Rotarian director, along with family Rotarian members, and formed a district hurricane relief committee. And today, Teri is going to share that experience with us. And I'll let you start off by telling the audience a little bit about how you contacted your brother in Texas, who's an active Rotarian, and you said, we need to do something to help these poor people in Puerto Rico.
Right. My brother's actually from New York State, and I was at a Rotary meeting. My sister-in-law is the president of that club, and I was at a meeting where one of the members was going down to Texas right after the Texas hurricane. There's an organization called Operation Endeavor that is a first responder. They had first boots on the ground to find out what people needed help with. So that they went to Texas, they went to Florida, and then when Maria hit Puerto Rico, then there was a big effort to start some kind of a project to help relieve Puerto Rican victims.
Now, do you work with the Red Cross in these things? No, totally separate.
No, one of the reasons, it's nice that you mentioned that. One of the reasons why I like working with the Rotary is because we raise money. We have a foundation. We've raised money for this project, and we know that every penny that people contribute goes to the project. For example, those of us who went on the mission had to pay for ourselves. There's no money. The only money, everything that people donate goes directly to the project that we're working on.
So it's a very well-run foundation
Yes.
in the sense
Yes.
they don't have big overhead there.
Right, and it's one of the top foundations in the
Really?
it's a Navigator approved foundation.
Oh,
Yes.
that's interesting to hear.
So
And Rotarians are international.
it's the Rotary International is an organization, and within the world there are local Rotary clubs that are divided into districts and zones, and then the whole international.
And if you would just briefly, what is the main work Rotarians do?
Well, the motto of Rotarians is service above self. So Rotarians do all kinds of things all over the world to help people. You'll see later that one of the big projects that Rotary International does has been working on polio eradication since 1985. But there are water projects. As a matter of fact, to tie this into the trip and what we've done, the Operation Endeavor, Wings of Michael, the Rotary Club of Liberty, which is my brother and sister-in-law's club, have ongoing projects in Haiti, which is why this was a perfect fit, because now we're going to Puerto Rico. And there are water projects all over the world. You name it, the Rotary does it. And one of the things that I love about Rotary is that Rotarian will see a problem. If you see a leper on the street, most people will say, "Oh my God, isn't that a shame?" A Rotarian will say, "What can we do about it?" And so,
So you're activist in making the world better.
right.
And well, we're going to start. This is a flag. You took a picture of.
All right. So this is we went to Puerto Rico,
And this is the flag of Puerto Rico?
This is the flag of Puerto Rico, and the question is, how did we end up in the community that we ended up in? Because Puerto Rico is fairly large.
And
So
we're going to have to move along. So these
okay,
are
so
who?
these people. This is November. These people met in November. They're local Moca Rotarians and Operation Endeavor people who are trying to get together, the local doctor, to collaborate and decide whether there should be a project and whether we should be working with them on the project. So these were people who didn't know each other to begin with, and established a relationship because we wanted to help Puerto Rico. These are some of the pictures that these people took.
This is in Puerto Rico.
Right. This is during. You can see the devastation that Puerto
see it.
Rico.
That's a little more than a car
Maria,
wash.
right? Yes, yes. They were inundated. There were bridges out. There was. So I thought it would be a good idea for us to see what Puerto Rico was like during the hurricane and afterwards.
Wow.
There's all kinds of devastation. I have some local pictures that I took that you'll see later when we were there. But these were pictures that were
This is
taken
in the Moca area?
This is in November. So I'll show you later where Moca is in the northwestern corner of Puerto Rico. And so this is, we got together, this is the collaboration. The Liberty Rotary Club, District 7910, which is the Rotary District in Massachusetts, the Moca Rotary Club, Operation Endeavor, and Wings of Michael. These were the five organizations that get...
Wings of Michael is what? Also part of Rotary?
It's a faith-based first responders group. Operation Endeavor is a civic first responder organization.
Not part of Rotary.
Not part of Rotary,
so
but there's a lot of overlap because some of the people who are in Operation Endeavor and Wings of Michael are also Rotarians.
I gotcha.
But we partner with other organizations to do these things.
Okay.
So this was a pre-meeting. Once we had decided on the mission, there was a lot that went in before we got this was the first meeting that we had. You can see it was online. People from New York and Massachusetts at this meeting talking about the upcoming mission, what was expected of us, what we were going to do, what the line of leadership was going to be, and some of the practices that we were going to carry out while we're there. So this was the first time we had actually met. So here's the map of Moca. You see where the 3 is on the right. That's where Moca is, and you can see on the map on the left, the red mark is where
and
Moca.
where would San Juan be? Over to the right?
There it is. I asked the right question. You can see that the top blue part is San Juan. So this first mission we took, we flew into San Juan. We actually met at JFK. You'll see that in a few minutes. But we met at JFK, and then we flew at 5:30 in the morning to San Juan. We got to San Juan in the early morning to afternoon, and then we drove to Moca. So that's
how were the roads going?
The roads were fine. There wasn't actually Stuart Hurst, who's in Operation Endeavor, was one of the people pictured in the original photo who did the reconnaissance, the original reconnaissance, and he was amazed at how much improvement there had been from the first time he was there. But there was still, you'll see later on, the electric lines were down. So this is a sample of our day. And I chose Sunday because we do get up at 5:30 in the morning. We worked all day. We had breakfast. We did all kinds of things I'm going to show you in the pictures.
You were giving out vaccinations.
We did vaccinations
to people?
on Sunday, right. And that's mainly what we did on Sunday. Saturday was reconstruction and delivery of mattresses and appliances, but I want you to note here that we did see the Super Bowl.
I see that, but
and I had to watch the Super Bowl with all these people.
You went to bed at 11 p.m., up at 5:30.
Right.
This is a very full day.
It was a full weekend.
I don't see nap time in there.
No, there was no nap time.
Okay.
So this was we got together at JFK. We flew in there's a Massachusetts crew and a New York crew. Who met in New York.
Now, do you meet the Massachusetts people at different regional meetings?
Well, I met them. No, they became part of the Hurricane Relief Committee that we had. The district and there were the three of us were you'll see pictures of the three of us were volunteers. This is the Massachusetts contingent.
I got you.
And one of them is from Weston Wayland, the other one is from Bedford, and I'm from Framingham. So this was a district
Metro West group.
Right. So as we were driving,
looks beautiful.
We took the plane, we landed in San Juan, and just before we got to Aguadilla, which is where our hotel was, we stopped and took some pictures, and it really was beautiful. It was, in some ways, it was almost disappointing because we came to do a mission to help people, and Puerto Rico was, again, just lush and beautiful. It was almost, you could almost...
I know that electricity was a big issue.
Well, electricity was a huge issue. There's water issues. And so these are some of the pictures that I took along the way. This is, so you could see some of the scenery. But there are also... this was as we were driving. Our destination was Aguadilla, which is near Moca. That's where the hotel was, the Parador El Faro. And it was about 20 minutes from Moca.
You know, we never hear about these outside places in Puerto Rico. You always hear, San Juan, old San Juan,
right.
San Juan.
Well, Moca is beautiful. It's hilly.
Yep.
Very hilly. But you can see this is the rubble that was along the way. You'll see electric wires down. Some of the electric wires. So some of the pictures are a little bit blurry because I was doing them in the car, but I wanted to make sure I got the wires. Here's a landslide. There were actually houses above this.
Oh, really?
And so that they had to be abandoned. You can see the wires that were down when we were there. There's still lots of work to do. And
now, is this farm area? Is this an agriculture area where you'd see livestock and stuff? No?
No, we didn't see livestock. There were a lot of hills. I'm not really sure. I know that there is industry because at one of the clinics, there was a representative of the Moca of a Moca manufacturing company that displaying their fresh and healthy foods that they grew.
Okay.
They grew in Moca, sesame and
so they
coconut.
did grow some stuff
So yes,
there.
so there. I don't really know what.
I think Puerto Rico has a fairly sizable sugarcane
Yes,
industry.
I think they do, but
But I don't know what else. I assume, well, let me see, pineapple probably.
I have to admit I was tunnel focused on the mission.
That's okay.
so-
That's okay. I always look at those. I'm in the food business, so I always look at
right.
see what they're growing.
Right. So
So you got together with the group and flew from JFK to San Juan, got transportation out to Moca. How was the hotel in that area?
the hotel was wonderful, except for the internet connection.
Oh, really? Look how spoiled we are.
We did have water. They
Yeah.
did have electricity. Moca, actually, even when we were there in February, was one of the more successful places that didn't have so much trouble with the electrical
Really?
wires. Right. So I think there were only 4% of people who didn't have electricity at the time.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Right. So these are more pictures of. This is actually what we saw in Moca on this first. So we got to Moca and what to do. We didn't want to just sit around and do nothing. So we took a tour of Moca, and that's what this is here. This is one of the houses that you'll see later. One of the things I didn't mention, because I don't have a picture of it, but the roofs. When you fly over, you can see all these blue tarps. And those are the tarps that supposedly FEMA has installed. Some of the different color ones were not FEMA related, but FEMA did do some roofs. Now here, this is an area where we're going to, this is a bridge that was out, a bridge that was taken out and has to be reconstructed. So this was the construction site, the area where that bridge was taken out.
His shirt says Fallsburg Fire Department.
Right. So
was he with your group?
He's a Rotarian who was from
Oh,
Fallsburg,
okay.
New York, and
Yep.
he's from the fire department, yes. And this is around that bridge area. So this is the bridge that was out. And
So some of these people had very good backgrounds
yes.
as to how to help out.
Yes, a couple of them did. Now this is this backhoe. I just wanted to show you this. This is at the construction site where the bridge was out. You can see that they're protecting the materials by putting the bucket
Right.
on the material so that they don't get stolen. So that they
Sure, you get that situation.
right. So this is a site that was being probably, I don't know if it's finished yet, but they were about to construct it. So here, this is just a picture of one of the new electric poles, and it worries me because who knows, another hurricane comes along, and I don't know if that's going to withstand.
Are those cement?
I don't.
Very often I see the new electric poles they do in the Caribbean are cement. And what's nice about them is they can withstand the winds pretty well.
Well, that's what I'm hoping that they did,
And
right.
the termites and bugs don't eat them.
Right.
So they actually can be very helpful. Oh,
Now
look
this
at
is
this.
so we did one. You'll see later. We actually turned a disaster site into a construction site. This was going to be our second project.
Yep.
When we went back the next time. This is right near that bridge that was out that we just saw.
The stairway got hit
And
pretty
it
good.
looks beautiful, but you can see the stairway got hit. You'll see I have other pictures of this particular house. And from the outside, it looks beautiful. You know, it's got a very sturdy structure with a brick. But when you go inside and look so there's the roof, and you'll see all the rubble and all the mess that was made.
Where did they house, like, the person who lived in this house, where they can't live in the house any longer?
Well, these people were still living in the house.
They were,
right.
even with this damage.
Right, even with the damage. There were a lot that aren't. We're going to meet somebody later on whose house was completely demolished and she had to rent a house. But this is still the roof of that house. And you'll see the inside of it. So even if the structure looks decent, they lost everything. You know,
Yeah.
the mattresses and appliances.
The water
Just went
damage.
through. You could see the cars at the beginning, though everything was submerged. There's a little dog sitting out there. But this is the downstairs, and it looks fine, but this was all water, you know, it was all water damage.
That's what does it a lot of times. The water
Right,
does
right.
tremendous damage.
So we were going to do this as our second project, but when we went back the second time at the end of February, the road was out on the other end, the end that we came in, and it would have taken us 20 minutes just to walk there. So there was no way that we could turn that into, we could be working at that house to help them reconstruct.
Now this is
Now this is
somebody
a mural.
painted the
This is
flag on a mural.
actually a
yeah.
mural, and I mean, it looks like the flag is really waving. This was a job that was the artist was hired to do this mural, and to depict the hurricane. You can see it's in panels.
Oh, I love that.
And there was some, you know, we got to see some other things. The picture on the right is a baby with the Puerto Rico in the eye.
You must know Dave and Elsa Hornfischer, who have been guests on our show. They were in maybe Missouri along the Mississippi River, and there were the same kind of, not the same pictures, but big murals painted on the walls protecting the overflow of the river. So it reminds me a little bit of that, the same idea.
The fellow was commissioned to do this. This is a Puerto Rican flag, but I'm not going to get into it because it's a little political, but you can see that it's the blue is different colors.
Yes.
And there is some political
Really?
sense to that, right?
Meaning, well, I don't
Well, I
mind
think there's.
talking
Well, I don't
politics.
know. I think
Oh.
I don't know that much about it, and I try to stay out of politics. But there's some political factions, and this was a rendition of the Puerto Rican flag.
One of the big issues I know in Puerto Rico is statehood to be part of the United States versus
No, we didn't get into
independence.
any- right,
But I
I'm
mean, maybe it has something. I
very
don't.
much
I don't
aware,
know.
right.
I don't know, but I know that's an issue in Puerto Rico. Here's your group having breakfast.
This is breakfast at the hotel, and you'll see what the sign says on the next. So this was the sign at the hotels that they survived 9/20. That's their hurricane survival. And so we were up at 5:30 having breakfast, and our first stop was this furniture store. So one of the places that has become a focus of who do you help and how do you get there is the woman who owns this furniture store and the furniture store itself, because when people are needy or they need something, they've lost all of the first place they go is a furniture store. And Carmen, who owns the furniture store, is a very loving person, and she has tried to help the community.
And her building held up.
Her building held up. All right, that's Carmen in the middle there. And she has she's actually donated or given discounts on appliances, and this is a mattress that was going to be delivered. There is a bigger delivery truck, but we took this to the first place. So our first stop was the furniture store, where we waited till the mattress got loaded. And then we took it to Edvin's house. This is Edvin's house. You can see the Rotarians are wearing the Moca T-shirts, the T-shirt that we made for Moca, and are actually doing the work of delivering the mattress.
Around how many people would you say live in Moca?
I believe it's about 46,000.
Oh, so it's a good-sized community.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this is the paperwork. So I told you about the donations. Everything that we give out or spent there or was donated, there had to be paperwork for, so we had to account for everything that was given out. This is Nelson Quinones, who is the president of the Moca Club, and if it were not for him, we wouldn't have had all these things to do. He's actually a mailman.
Okay.
So that's why we went on the weekend, and he made the schedule, he arranged all the cases that we went to and organized it and did a fantastic job, because we got as much done as we could, and we were able to help a lot of people and see some things as we were going.
Isn't that wonderful, though, that he said to himself, he thought about it, said, gee, we can use help.
Well, he's the president of the Moca Rotary Club, and that's what Rotarians do, is they help, and he really took it to heart. He had just become the president in April last year, and he was just a wonderful person to work with and very caring. And this is we take group pictures after the mattress was delivered. And actually, this was upstairs. I think they had just fixed the roof in this house. But this is there were actually 9 members of our team. the two on the end there, Operation
Oh
Endeavor.
boy,
Now, this-
look at this damage.
So this is the house that we turned from a disaster site into a construction site. This was how it was. It wasn't like this when we got there. I think they had done some cleaning, but this is what it looked like originally. This is sort of what it looked like when we got there, and we.
I don't see anything to salvage.
Well, we had the walls came down. You'll see the bathroom. What's surrounding that's the bathroom, the toilet, and the sink.
I see a sink, a blue
survived.
sink. Yep.
And not only that, it was amazing that there was a razor that was behind the faucet, and that didn't get blown away.
Oh, my goodness.
So this is the owner of the house. This is Don Luis, and he was very grateful that we could help him out. So when we got there, the cinder blocks were piled there, ready to go, but we had to clean up the whole site. You'll see.
Now, who brought in some of this stuff? Was this from the state?
No,
or
this
was
is no,
all
this is
private?
all no, this is all donated. This is part of our project. This is part of
So
what
you
we
people
funded.
put the money together for the cinder block?
Right. That's
really?
part of what. Right. That's part of what we
Oh.
did. That came from our.
Oh, so you're a little bit like the people who build the.
No, it's not Habitat.
No, but I mean the same concept.
Right. Well,
with the
no,
building.
but we supplied what needed to be supplied
Yep.
for the project to be done. So we provided the cleanup. We had nine people going there. We had no idea what we were going to find, what we were going to do, and we got there, and everybody just seemed to take a
Yeah, but
a
it's
job.
amazing that you were able to
So-
get the blocks there. You know,
Well, they were already there. They'd been delivered, but you'll see the cleanup as we go along. This is the site. So they're actually removing the old concrete.
Yep.
And the yard was a mess, so a lot of us are cleaning the yard up, and that's I'm right there in the middle in the shorts. Those are my wonderful tactical pants that I could unzip.
Oh,
so
and your boots here.
and
Hold
my
up the
boots.
boots.
Oh, my boots. Yeah. So
put
you want
your boots so we can show your boots.
I have a story with the boots. This was a mission where we were given.
There he is. He's focusing
we were
on
given,
your boots. Show him the lining, Terry.
We were given instructions
boots.
on what equipment to buy, and it included this backpack, which is probably bigger than I am, that I did pack with all my stuff and carried on my back. But the boots were an issue because when we went to the airport, they're very hard to get on. It took me 15 minutes to get into them. And I got to the airport, and they scanned me, and they said I had to take my boots off.
Oh.
And I begged them not to make me take my boots
But they
off.
said take them
and they
off.
said I have to take them off because I didn't know that there was metal inside.
Well,
them.
this week, I think, in a Philadelphia federal court, somebody had taken TSA to court for harassment, abuse, something, I forget. But the government ruled, no, you can't sue TSA.
Oh, well,
so if
yeah.
they want to pull your shoe
Right.
off, they can do it.
And then I have the hat here too. So
Oh.
I got all this tactical equipment, and so that's why I mean I had never had time before to do these things, and I've always wanted to do this kind of mission, and I'm hoping to do more. But I have the equipment now to do it.
Oh,
And
we're going
it's a different
Send
mindset.
you globally. We're going to
Well-
send you to every earthquake, hurricane, tornado. Terry's coming.
It's a very different trip from a tourist vacation, and I really
hard
enjoy it
work.
because you get to meet people.
Now this is you're moving along
So
on the
this
house.
is this is the constructions or the house that we're trying to get into shape so that we can so that it can be reconstructed.
Did
Basically,
they keep the sink in the toilet?
no.
Oh,
no,
they got rid
no,
of the
they
sink.
got rid of
Okay.
Yeah, they got rid of it. They got rid of it.
But they
And
probably
this
used
is the
the
shed in
plumbing.
the back. You can see actually that's where his laundry room and is back there. And later you'll see that the next trip we actually put a mirror and made a little place for him so that he could have a little powder room, if you will, so he could shave and you see himself. And
Now he lived here, what, with his wife?
no,
or-
he lived here alone.
Alone, okay.
His daughter would bring him food. So here we are with the jackhammer. They're trying. They got rid of all of the whole level. Everything was leveled.
You're lucky you had electricity.
We did have electricity there.
Yep, I see it. I see
Moca
the
was
cords.
we were very lucky
Yes.
that we did have the electricity there. It was one of the few communities. I think they were about 90%.
I wonder if they had their own generating
Well,
system.
you'll see that we delivered a refrigerator to somebody in an area that didn't have electricity, and the question is, how did they run the refrigerator? I'll tell you about that.
Oh,
so
okay.
here's the site. This is Nelson and the worker there sifting the sand for the
Concrete.
concrete, right. So now this is, the dump site is right behind the house. Everything that was blown out of the house from the blizzard, from the hurricane, is being dumped over the mountain, over
Okay.
the side of the mountain. So I'm thinking, what are the archaeologists going to think when they see this in 100 years or a couple hundred years? All the appliances and glass and
Well, they have nowhere to take it.
no, they didn't have anywhere
So
to
they're
take it.
creating,
right,
and they'll probably
right.
fill it in later with.
Right. Well, I don't know. I think it
landfill.
will. They won't have to fill it in. It'll regenerate itself. It'll become green. The stuff will grow over it. But so that's the dump is right behind these two people over the side of the mountain, and you can see how beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful country. It's really beautiful. That's Don Luis. And I know I saw what that was. I don't remember right now what was on the piece of paper.
Oh, there you
so
are.
now we
Everyone's
finished for
smiling.
the day. We moved all you can see we moved those cinder blocks so that it's easier for the masons to build. And this is our group picture at the end of the 3 hours that we spent there working on this site. And you can see how
got a
much
lot
better
done.
it looks. We did. We got an amazing amount of work done. And it was, so this is the second stop. Third stop, actually. We did the mattress and the construction site. This house is beautiful. It's in great shape, but the whole electric system was flooded, and the whole thing had to be replaced. So we are there actually to present a check to this lady, Maria. You can see this is the new.
Electric.
Nelson is examining it to make sure that everything was done properly, that everything is there that's supposed to be.
So you paid for electricians to come in and do this?
Right.
You
we
folks
paid,
didn't do that?
No,
Okay.
no. That was a project that was paid, that we presented a check. And normally we don't present the checks, we only present it to the builders, but this had already been done, and she had paperwork. This is a view from her house, it's beautiful. She had paperwork to verify that she had the work done, because again, we're very careful that we don't spend money unless it's correctly done. So this is my sister-in-law who's talking to, actually presenting the check.
Oh, she came as well?
Yes, my sister-in-law and brother were there too. I didn't get a chance to show you. I didn't tell you who the people were in the picture. And she's there thanking them. So this is, I had to put this in here. I know we don't need people pictures.
No, we love to see this.
These
her
three,
grandchildren.
No, these three girls are three of her quadruplets.
Those are her children.
21-year-old quadruplets.
No, they look very young.
They look like they're 10. I know.
No, but they look, and those are her children.
Those are her children. And
Very nice-looking young ladies.
and the plant, she was very proud of her garden in the back. But so now we went back to Moca, and this is an example of, there's a shop in the center of town that does Mandilla lace, and Mandilla lace is known to be from Moca.
Really?
Mandilla means those little, see the little pad that they use to make the lace?
Yeah.
That's Mandilla, means little world. And so they make the lace. They have these bobbins and the pins, and it's very intricate. They use these bobbins, and we watched them for a little while making the lace, and they have a pattern where I don't know how they know where to put the bobbins, which way they go, but I tried to get the picture of them
And
doing
this,
that.
Now you brought something. Oh, here it is.
Yes, I actually have that one with me. I don't know if we want to see it.
Yeah, hold it up.
Yep. Okay.
Show that. Now, is that the same lace that
Yes,
they made?
yes, that was. I actually took the picture in there was a picture of this particular piece. I actually bought this for our district governor, and I keep losing it. So now I found it again, and I want to present it to her because the district governor was very supportive in this
Isn't that
hurricane
nice
relief.
with the flag and everything?
Yeah, but the lace is Mandilla lace.
Mandilla lace. Okay, great. And what do you use it on? A table?
Well, this is I guess a doily. You can frame it. I mean, whatever you use lace for. Excuse me. So this is the ladies actually working at the lace.
The lace makers.
Yes. Yep.
Instead of made in China, it's made in
the murals and
Moca.
the lace. We got a little bit of culture while we were doing the mission.
Yeah, and they have a shop there. They sell all these.
Right.
in?
This is right in Moca, and we were waiting for the furniture truck, the appliances to be delivered. I think the truck was out, and we had to wait. So we figured rather than sit around, we would take a walk through the town. And Nelson had told us about this lace place, and we said, "Oh well."
Oh, they're famous for it.
Yes, they're famous for it. So we went there, and then we'll be going now to the last stop after this. This is a picture of Moca. This is a city of Moca.
This looks little Mexico with the church,
Right.
the way the same design.
You'll see better pictures later where I take them from the plaza and then others from the church. But I think this might have been from the store that I was taking them. So this is Marisol, and Marisol has a very sad story. Her house was completely demolished, and this is actually a rental. She had no money. She's getting some support from FEMA, but the problem is that one of the things I should probably mention. The problem is that FEMA does not support any house or anybody with a home where they don't have papers. And so there are a lot of people who have lived in their homes for generations, and there are no titles. So we're actually trying to help people who.
So
who
what
can't.
does FEMA say to these people? Will they give them temporary housing somewhere?
Well, I don't know about that. As far as I know, they don't help the people. They will not help them reconstruct their homes. I believe she was getting some support from FEMA.
Because I know there was just an issue with FEMA with
So this is her daughter, and she's with her daughter there.
with a lot of Puerto Ricans who went to Florida.
Here's her pictures of the house, her demolished house. She had tons of them. I just got a couple of them, but you can see that. So this is a rental house that was just a shell, and I don't know if it passed by. We'll see the kitchen that she has actually created for herself out of plywood and cinder blocks. She put in a faucet herself, and of course she didn't have running water and electricity at this point. And we delivered a refrigerator. So the question is, how is that refrigerator going to run without electricity?
And she's renting this.
Right. So she had a generator, which got stolen.
Oh.
But how do they do it with the generator? They run it for a couple hours, and then they turn it off to preserve gas. But she had a terrible story. She actually came to the United States for help, and she didn't get help here. She was just very discouraged, and she went back, and she had a car, and somebody was telling her that the car didn't have brakes, and she really didn't get very good help, because the one person that she went to who she confided in said, just keep taking it to gas stations and see if the shops and see if they'll help you for free. So she really was frustrated. She didn't really get help from the community. But then she found, I believe she found Carmen at the furniture store.
No, there were a lot of, there was just a story on FEMA with a lot of Puerto Rican people who came to the United States after the hurricane because they had nowhere to live.
Well, she tried to come here.
And they were putting them up in hotels, and
Right.
FEMA said, okay, the time period is up,
Right.
you need to go.
Right.
And there was a lot of
Right, there's a
discrepancy.
lot of-
No, we don't want to leave, we like it here.
Right.
So they've been going through, now this is a whole family.
This is a group picture with Marisol after we delivered the refrigerator. Excuse me. And this is her family. She has a daughter and a son who's ADHD. Marisol herself has issues. So she was in a really bad place at the time that we were there. The next time she's in much better shape. But so this is that night. My sister-in-law's birthday was during this mission.
Oh,
So
I see the
it was
balloon.
my
Happy
sister-in-law and my
birthday.
brother. So we celebrated the birthday
So
that
even
night.
in devastation of
Yeah,
hurricane,
we
you
do.
found
Yeah,
a happy birthday.
We can get everything in, whether it's good or bad, and we're always helping. So we had a Massachusetts contingent and a New York contingent, and the Liberty New York Rotary Club had this.
Now, I
that
find
said,
it
we get stuff done. And the next one is ours, where we say we came, we saw, we kicked some ass. So that was our motto while we were there, so that we got stuff
Let
done.
me ask you this. I see you both, and your brother and you, are active in this. Were your parents Rotarians? What?
My father was very
Your father was, okay.
He was also very active civic. They were voluptuous. They were voracious, rather, volunteers.
So that's where you and your brother got this.
I guess I didn't.
Well, sure. I mean, I found it awkward that both of you were Rotarians. I said it must be a family
Well,
tradition.
I never considered joining the Rotary Club until actually I started my own business, and I said, well, I can join the Chamber of Commerce, or I can join the Rotary Club, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to do service at that point. I was just going through a divorce and just starting my business
And running your own business.
And so I said I can't do that right now. But when I was ready, that's when I joined the Rotary Club. This is at the hotel the next day. Going. That's one of our shirts, Rotarian at Work.
Yep.
So now we're in this is Sunday. We've been there. We've been there one full day, Saturday, and now Sunday is. This is. What I didn't tell you is our goals when we were there were to do the reconstruction, replace or give supplies and mattresses, appliances and mattresses to people who needed them, and one of the big projects was flu vaccinations, flu clinics. So everything is pegged on the church. So Sunday we went to Mass, and they had a 7 o'clock Mass, a 9 o'clock Mass, and an 11 o'clock Mass, and after each Mass we had a flu clinic. This is the main. So I didn't stay through for the whole service at the Mass, and I took some pictures of. This is Moca from the church.
You know, these buildings look in pretty good shape.
Well, they are in pretty good.
Yeah.
They're in pretty good shape. It's the outliers. It's the people who are outside of the community who are not in such good shape. And even when we were there, there weren't water issues and electricity issues when we were there. The second time, they were having water issues because their dam is cracked and about to break. So that's a project that needs to be taken on. But this is taken from the church, and you'll see later on we're taking. Actually, the next trip, we're taking pictures from the plaza. So these clinics were done in the schools, the nursery school, or the church schools next, or the schools next to the church.
Did you do some of the injections?
No, there was only one person who was qualified. That was Tommy, who was part of Operation Endeavor, who was qualified to do medical. That was one of the most frustrating events for us, the rest of us, because we like to get things done and we like to do things, and there was a lot of schmoozing because we weren't qualified to do this. But what we found and what we were told is that just being there, our presence, talking to the
funny.
people, they were so
I'm learning
happy.
because I never would think about it, but it's probably true that when you have these disasters, people need medical attention.
Right.
With shots for probably when you get a rusty nail, what is that?
Well, that was the line, by the way, for the. So when they did the reconnaissance here, they looked to see what needed to be done, and one of the big necessities was to do the flu and tetanus vaccinations.
Tetanus, that's what I was thinking.
Dr. Lemuel Soto, who's the doctor in Moca, who has a connection with Liberty, with Monticello, New York. That's how we got to them. That's Dr. Soto on the left there. He's a very devoted Mocan, and he works very hard for his community to help them out. And he organized all the clinics. So this clinic is being held, and after people get inoculated,
they get
cake and juice, which was all sugar. All sugar.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So one of the pictures before that was the line. We actually ran out of vaccine. We went to this. We did the clinic at the main church here, and then we broke up into teams and went to we did 2 outlying areas. We did more flu vaccines. So the goals were the reconstruction, the supplies, the flu vaccinations, and toys for kids.
Oh, you did toys also.
So this next place where we went to, this was a rural. We decided
Another
to do the
church.
toys, and right. So the churches are very important there. I think there are 13 wards, and they each have their own church. So this one was outside.
So when you say the churches are very important, are you saying they fill a social, they do more than religion, they also...
I think they do, yes, they do.
Yeah.
I mean, because that became, the priests at the churches have become part of our contacts there, because how else do you find out who needs help? It's very difficult. So they've formed a group so that people know who to come to. So this was a view from the church. I tried to get some pictures of what it actually looks like. Not just what we're working on. So this is Paula and Mike, who are part of my Massachusetts contingent, and she actually got to do some registration. So she was busy during the clinic. Tommy on the left is the fellow who was able to do the inoculations, and these are all the clinicians were volunteers.
It's interesting.
Here
And here are
toys.
the kids'
Yeah.
toys.
So we have a series of pictures here.
Now, did these get flown in from the States?
Well, in actuality, these toys came from the New York contingent. They actually brought them down on
They
the
did,
plane.
so they brought them with them. Isn't that wonderful?
Well, our goal was to buy the toys there so that we would stimulate
I was
the
gonna say,
economy.
I'm surprised they'd be available. Oh, really? They took that into account?
Well, we were
as how
going-
can we bring money to Puerto
Well,
Rico?
that's what we were going to do. That's what our project was supposed to do, and we
Oh,
didn't
isn't that
quite.
interesting?
We didn't quite get to do that at this point yet. But these are the kids. This little boy was so shy, and then he got the toy and wouldn't let it go. So they were very grateful. The kids were very happy. This is again the line waiting for the flu clinic.
Oh, there's the little boy you're talking about.
No, that was the one before. We actually missed the shots. It's okay.
Isn't she cute?
Yeah, they were very grateful that we had, and unfortunately, we didn't have enough. So we ran out of them fairly quickly. But this is all very heartwarming work. It was heart-wrenching and heartwarming at the same time, because so many people have lost so much down there. But it was nice to be able to help them, and they were very grateful. They were thanking us. And
Now, let me ask you a question. Did you find any of the people in that area were like people from the United States who had moved there, or were they really mostly
well,
just...
actually, Nelson, the president of the Moca Rotary Club, I believe, was born in Puerto Rico. He actually grew up in New York.
He did, okay.
And then went back to Puerto Rico to live. And so there are some people that do that.
I would think so. I mean, can I tell you the truth? It looks like, excluding the houses that are falling apart, but it looks like a nice community.
It is a very nice community.
For people who maybe are not in their high earning years.
Right, yeah.
Because I know the economy there is, challenging.
Right, it is very challenging.
Yeah, we knew somebody
the priest.
who
This is
had,
the father.
that's a priest.
Yeah, he was the father.
We knew somebody who had a chain of, I think he at one time had 120 dress stores throughout Puerto Rico. And he went into bankruptcy, and he ended up moving into one of his mother's condos in Florida. And it was because the whole economy down there,
Right.
this is not just sudden, this has been
Right.
going on,
Right.
has
Right,
been
yes.
under tremendous pressure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And they have issues with the power.
Grandpa wanted a toy for his granddaughter, so we let him have one.
No, the
Stuffed
toys were
animal.
a great idea to bring.
Well, this was a need that they found when they did the reconnaissance back in November, that people had lost everything. That's what I'm saying. You're not really seeing that here because everything looks so nice, but there are lots of places that still are completely disaster areas.
No, I find it interesting, though, that
This woman was so grateful. That's why I took a picture. I'm not good at selfies, but she said, "I want a picture," and we're so grateful. We're so happy that you came to help us, and we need all the vaccines. And
But I was going to say, there must be a certain template they use to say, okay, in past disasters, we have realized we need vaccines, kids need toys. There must be...
well, that's what these first responders
Yeah.
do. I mean, they're trained to go
trained in
down
these-
there, and they conferred with Dr. Soto.
Well, I'm not familiar with it at all.
Well,
So that's why I find it interesting
It
that
is,
they have
right.
a whole kind of template of this is what is going to be
Right,
needed for
absolutely.
these people.
Well, that's why they went down there, and that's why it's not just doing the mission. There was a whole. I mean, the whole project started back in September, as soon as the hurricane hit, and we still have missions that we're going to be doing. So this was just the first one. So this was another one. This is the third one we did, Kapa, and we actually ran out of vaccine in this at this site. So when we went back the next time, we went back to this site and completed the vaccinations. So these are the people standing in line, the clinic group. These are the people who gave the inoculations. And these people here were at all of the clinics. You know,
Now, was this in the church you set up this clinic?
this is the third church that we went to.
Third
This
church.
is
So
the
these
third.
churches serve a lot of purposes.
Oh yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Isn't that
this
wonderful? I
one's-
really think that's what today, I won't get into a long discussion about it, but we have so many churches in the United States that have become somewhat inactive, very small memberships. And
Well, the churches are large. I mean, the churches are full for mass, and they have 3 masses.
because these churches are interwoven with
the
their
s- with the community,
communities,
right, exactly.
better than I
Right.
think a lot of our
Right.
religious organizations are.
Right.
They are truly part of the community, so the people are very anxious to, that's who they turn to for
Right.
help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why we established that relationship, and the priests have become a good part of our organization because they
But
help.
the Rotarians are totally non-sectarian.
Right,
Yes.
non-sectarian,
Right.
non-political, yeah, totally. So that's why we do things in a very non-sectarian way.
Yes.
It's
But I find it interesting that the churches look so much a part of the community.
they are part of the
Yeah.
community, an integral part of
Different
it.
than what we see here
Right,
today.
right. So this was this is the last clinic. This is the crew at Kapa, the last clinic that we went to. Now this is back at the furniture store, and on the right we have the district governor, who's the head of Puerto Rico. He actually traveled from the southeast of Puerto Rico to come to us at the Northwest.
Oh,
We were
okay.
hoping he would come. So that's the district governor. On the left is the Dr. Soto. And I know we don't care about the people, but these 3 people, and Nelson in the center, who's the president of the Rotary Club, were just instrumental, key, along with Stuart Hirsch in getting these
He
projects
seems
done.
young, the politician.
There's no
The
politician.
governor. Oh, I thought he was-
Well, he's a Rotary district governor. That's
a
what
Rotary
I'm sorry, it's a
sorry.
Rotary district governor. I should have clarified that. Yes.
I thought he was a political
The head of
person.
our districts are called governors.
Oh,
They're district
okay.
governors.
Oh, he's a Rotarian.
He's a Rotarian, right? And then this is the district governor, who is a Rotarian, and his wife, and then the Massachusetts contingent, and the president of the Rotary Club. So this is one of our traditions. This is after we were all finished. We all went. You'll see the picture later, the group picture of the whole project, the whole group. And if you just
home of the Framingham
well,
Heart
actually,
Study.
we don't have to worry about it. So one of our traditions in Rotary is that we have communities. Each Rotary Club has a flag, and when we go to other Rotary clubs, we exchange flags. And I thought this was nice to see. I'll actually show you this one, if they can get me a picture of it, because
Oh, yeah, if you could focus in on that.
the flag of the Rotary Club of Framingham
I'm
highlights.
glad you show it to Heart Study, because
highlight-
I wouldn't know
Right. Well, it highlights the home of the Framingham Heart Study, which is
with a big heart.
with a big heart. So a lot of people, when we give the flag, say, "Oh, I've heard of the study," or else if they didn't know, they now know about the Framingham Heart Study.
And you should say the Rotary Club with a big heart.
That's right. Well, that's what I do say. That's exactly what I said when I presented the flag. So that's one of our traditions. This is the group. This is Sunday night. This is I call it the Last Supper. we actually were outside. It was beautiful outside, and all of a sudden the wind came, and we all had to go inside, and it was hard to get us all around a table. But that is some of the couple of the priests are there, and some of the spouses and the district governor were all there. These are some of the key people. The Dr. Soto, Father Juan, Stu Hirsch, and Nelson Canones were key. They're
that's
key
the
people.
priest with the little short guy.
Yeah, he's one of the.
Okay.
Well, you saw one of the priests who was a lot larger. But it's all, these people, nobody knew each other at the beginning. In fact, it took a while to get the relationships going because they were all leery of each other.
Yeah.
We don't know these people from Adam. So
there's a big hospital there.
So there's a
Wow.
hospital nearby. So we were looking for a more sustainable project, and we heard that the hospital needs some help. And the hospital is in Aguadilla, it services
ocean.
Moca, and it got whammed.
Oh.
They have. I wish I had the video. They have pictures of people trying to hold the windows
Really?
up during the hurricane, and they were a trauma center, the dialysis center. They got demolished. They lost their electricity. They lost so much material and supplies. And this is so we went to see on our way Monday morning on our way back. We stopped and saw the CEO to see what she needed for the hospital.
She's the head of the hospital.
She's the head of the hospital, right? And
And this is you flying away?
Right. We drove back to San Juan, and this is adios to Puerto Rico for the time being. It was a very interesting trip.
It seems like it was a very fulfilling trip.
It was very fulfilling.
You met wonderful people.
So this is, I told you at the beginning about Polio Plus. I got back to the Delta airport in a Delta terminal at JFK, and as I'm walking down the steps, you can see that it says we're this close to ending polio. There are only 3 countries that are left. So Rotary is all over the place, and I'm very proud to be a Rotarian and proud that I was able to do this mission.
This is wonderful work you're
So
doing.
we're working on trying to get rid of the
As they say in Yiddish, it's a mitzvah.
Right, absolutely. That's right.
Oh, no. Teri, thank you so much
thank you for having
coming
me.
and sharing this with us.
Thank you for having
me. And I know you're going to come back as a guest again and share, but these are very wonderful to see, very encouraging, and just wonderful work. And are you still communicating with some of these people there to see?
Yes, I'm not directly right now, but I know that the head of my committee here in Massachusetts and the Liberty is in touch with Nelson, because they're still working on projects, and they're
Wonderful.
still trying to do missions. And the problem is that Nelson works during the day, so he can only do these things on the weekend. So we're trying to figure out some way of getting it so that we can do something during the middle of the week as well.
Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.